everybody, welcome back to Prison Life Diaries. My name is Allie. I hope that you are all having a great Friday because I know I am. So I was trying to think over the last week of maybe what topic I wanted to discuss, and while I was thinking about it, it occurred to me that, we're in the midst of a pandemic, and so everybody's feeling isolated, and I thought, let's talk about loneliness and how I deal with that. So as you know, in my introduction video, I talked a little bit about how my husband and I met, and he was doing full-time when we started our relationship. And while I was coming up every week for those visits, they were no contact, meaning that we would each be sitting on one side of a window and talking through a handheld phone receiver, just like you see on TV in the movies. Which is not an ideal way to have a visit because visiting rooms get noisy, there's lots of people talking and kids playing and running around, and receiver quality is horrible, so you could barely hear each other, but we got through it. The next visit that I came to see him, after the no contact, or after the whole time I should say, I came in and signed in for my visit, and they were like, well, you guys have a year of no contact visits. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Why? So, I ended up, after that first visit there, I actually ended up writing to the warden and appealing that because I didn't understand why they were doing it, and we got it reduced from a year to 6 months. And the rumor has it, but it was really never confirmed, that they figured I was some kind of a security risk, and that was why they were doing it. And I also felt like they were trying to discourage me from coming to visit because of that as well. But needless to say, I kept coming up every week for the next 6 months and still having those no contact visits. I guess they were under the assumption that because my ex, who was his cellmate at the time, at contraband, that somehow I must have been bringing it in, which I wasn't. But they're gonna think what they want to think. They just they don't care. But anyway, we got it reduced from a year to 6 months. So we had our visits through the glass with the handheld headset for another 6 months. So total 8 months of no contact visits, which is a really long time. I have some sensory issues, so having to try and concentrate on that, headset, with everybody running around was really hard for me. But we got through it. And we kind of joked when, in December of 2019, when the no contact visits finally ended, and we got to, have a regular visit for the first time, I thought, we were still just, in a dating relationship. We thought, things have to get better, right? We're going to get through that. We've gotten through this. Things have to get better. Well, we had about 3 months of regular, contact visits, I guess you would call them. Where we had to sit across from each other at a table, hold hands, and, and hug, and all of that. And then the pandemic happened. So, our first, the first several months of our relationship, almost the first year, were no contact. March of 2020, March of last year, was the last time that we'd seen each other in person. He got transferred from one medium security to another right at that time, right at the start of the pandemic. And then it was right at that same time when they had stopped the in-person visits. So now in July of last year, they finally got everything organized and we were able to have Zoom visits. So for the past 10 months, that's what we've been doing. The only way that we've been able to actually see each other is on a Zoom visit. So we get a 30-minute visit. I try to do it every week or every other week, but sometimes it's a few weeks in between. But for the most part, that's how we have our visits right now. You know, and he's wearing a mask, so I don't even get to see his face. I see this. That's it. So it's been really hard, you know, not seeing my husband's face in the whole time that we've been married. Not in person. Anyway, so with all of the difficulties that we have been through in the last couple of years, you know, how do we stay connected? How do we keep going? I'm not gonna lie, this isn't easy, and I know for a lot of people, a lot of the guys that are locked up right now, it has caused their relationships to end, because this is a hard thing for a lot of people to have this distance between them, and a lot of couples are not able to get through that. So how do we stay connected? We're allowed to have a 20-minute phone call 5 times a week. So most days we're able to talk on the phone. In fact, we were able to talk this morning, which is great. It was a great way to start my day. The other thing that I think is really important, well, we do email. So the prison system, every state has a different way of doing this. But they have an email service. It's not like your normal Yahoo or Gmail or, Hotmail account. Well, first of all, it costs money. It's 10 cents to send an email. Second is that everything is monitored. And it's slow because they manually push the emails through both ways. Somebody has to, push them through at the facility both ways. So coming in and going out. So we generally get 1 email a day, back and forth. It's frustrating because, like I said, we're dependent on them the facility to push the emails through, and they're not always very good about doing that. So there's that. And so, phone calls, emails, and also your incoming written correspondence are all monitored. Meaning they're going to see everything in your email. They potentially could listen to your phone call. They can read your mail. And it's not ideal, but we just have to live in that constant state of Big Brother watching over our shoulder because that's what we're dealing with. So we get phone calls 5 times a week. We email each other every day. One of the other things that's really, really been important to us to keep in touch and keep our relationship going is letters. I like to say that we're single-handedly keeping the post office in business because we write all the time, at least once a week. So right here, I'm going to show this to you here. This is my box of letters that I have received from my husband over the past 2 years. And it's getting pretty full, so there you go. It's pretty full. Like I said, I average about 1 letter a week. I really love getting his letters. It's one of the main ways that we keep in touch. I write to him at least once a week. So this is a big part of how we stay connected. It's just through the mail. So we get these letters. Let me show you this. This is from Mother's Day. So I got a Mother's Day card that he made, which he's you can see, a pretty good artist. But through the mail is another big way that we keep in touch. And so I've saved all my letters because I'm going to have these when he comes home. And we can look back at our, really our love story is all in here. So there's that. Another way that I feel like I keep connected, not necessarily to him, but just to keep my thoughts together. When I am feeling lonely or I'm feeling down, I have a journal. And I've had this journal since we've been a couple. It's not full yet, but about halfway there. About halfway. I don't write in this every day, but what I do try to do is write in there often enough to keep track of my thoughts, how I may be feeling, if I'm feeling lonely or really sad one day, or if something good happens, or if something bad happens, or if something funny happens. I try to write it down because I may not remember that in 5 years when he gets home, but it'll be here in my journal. Another way that I keep myself from feeling lonely is spending time with my family. I have my mom and my brother and 2 sons that live close by. We're all in the same town. So I try to keep myself busy doing things with my family. It hasn't been so much with friends during the pandemic, but I definitely have I spent a lot of time with my family. We go on road trips together. My mom and I get together and we make greeting cards and go out for breakfast, go out for lunch. I try to keep my time filled with doing things like that because it just helps, to keep the loneliness away. I would have to really say I don't altogether feel all that lonely. I have some moments where, it comes and goes and I do feel down or I feel sad and I feel like, I really wish my husband was here to be with me for this. But, all in all, I think, I handle it pretty well. There are a lot of couples that are going through the same situation that I am, and they're probably doing the same things. I keep busy with my work, my kids, my yard work. It's nothing exciting, but I just try to keep my mind busy. This relationship, even in the best of times, this type of relationship is not for everybody, because it is difficult. But like I said, my husband, I could tell you all day long what a sweet, caring person he is. You'd have to see it to believe it. But knowing that, in a little less than 5 years he's going to come home makes all of this worth it, because he's been very good to me. So, it also helps that I'm I would call myself a little bit of a hermit. Kind of socially awkward. I don't have a lot of friends that I spend time with. Most of my friends are over Facebook. So, that's really helpful to me too, I guess, is because I'm not a real social person. The isolation doesn't bother me as much as it does a lot of other people. I'm really thankful for that at times, because it has made getting through this pandemic a lot easier for me. And I'm hearing rumors now that they may start up our in-person visits again over the summer, but right now it's just a rumor. It would be great, but in theory, but I don't know how they're going to make it work in practice. They're certainly not going to let us wear masks in, because that's a security risk. And if they limit the number of visitors, they're going to have to almost have you schedule a time for a visit, because there's no way, these prisons are so far from, I don't say so far from civilization, but really they're put in places that are kind of in the middle of the nowhere. So they're not close to much of anything, and my husband's over an hour and a half away from where I live. So they can't just have open visits and have you just show up if they're limiting the number of visits, because who's going to drive an hour and a half just to be told that, oh, we're full, you can't come in? That's ridiculous. Believe it or not, this happened to me before, but so I'll keep you updated on that, I guess, when I hear more. For right now, I just want to thank you for watching. Please go ahead and hit like and subscribe down there, please. Please share with your friends, and please leave some comments down below as well, and let me know, what other things you'd like me to talk about. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Friday on Personal Life Diaries.